started then. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome along to another interview today where I'm pleased to be joined by Flat Jockey Dan Muscutt. Dan, how are you today?
Very well, thanks. Just done a few jobs at home before heading off to Haydock later on. Got one ride up there later this afternoon, but yeah.
So first things first, obviously we've been racing now just short of a week, but what was lockdown like for you prior to the return of racing?
To be honest, it wasn't obviously it wasn't ideal, but we were all in the same boat. So I just tried to keep myself as busy as possible, kept myself fit throughout the whole thing, and it allowed me an opportunity to do plenty of riding out for James Fanciful's team. Was in there every morning, 6 days a week, doing 3 or 4 lots every day. So used it as a worthwhile exercise, and got to sit on probably more horses earlier in the season than I would have done necessarily if we'd have been racing as usual all the way through the spring. In
terms of before lockdown, I think you was on 19 winners. So do you think it was a bit frustrating for you at the time that lockdown came around? Because you was riding quite a few winners at the time for quite a few outside trainers too.
Yeah, it was frustrating. But like I said, everyone was in the same boat. It was great to start the year so well. With all the people that I were riding for, their horses were in fantastic form, and a couple of horses had racked up a couple of sequences, so things were going very well from the beginning of the year. It was definitely my fastest, most successful start to the year, and yeah, just all we can do now is hope that things pick up where they left off.
In terms of now, as I said before, we've just short of a week into racing. What are the new procedures like, and how the jockeys responding to these new social distancing procedures, and also the protocols that you have to take before arriving at the races as well?
Look, everyone's adapted fantastically well. We are, generally the way day-to-day running of race days, the way everything's organised concerning the jockeys is pretty well orchestrated anyway. So these additional protocols and all those sorts of things have been pretty easy to adapt to, and that's on one part mainly due to the good work by the BHA and Dr. Jerry Hill and all the individual race courses. They've done fantastic jobs and signposting everything and providing us with as much information as they physically can before we even arrive at the races. So from that point of view, it's been an easy transition, and yeah, within the weighing room we've all got our own divided slots to have our all our kit and everything like that. And the valets have been working hard. Obviously, we're all a bit more spread out, so they probably deserve a mention as well. They've had to cover a few more miles than they normally would, so they're up and down like yo-yos, and no, we're all right.
So in terms of the actual race riding itself, there's no crowd, obviously, for the obvious reasons. Is there much of a difference without the crowd? Do you notice much of a difference without a crowd, especially when you're riding in the finish?
Not too much. I tend to find that I'm more or less in the zone anyway, so it doesn't really doesn't hinder me anyway. I don't really notice it too much. I think maybe it would be become more apparent when you get to the likes of Chester and the big meetings at Ascot and Newmarket and Royal Ascot, for example. There'll be ones where you will miss the hype because the whole place, even you just feel the buzz on those big days, and that gets you pumped up. But no, generally, hasn't at the smaller midweek meetings, it probably won't make too much difference.
In terms of your career itself, I was looking on before I did this interview. You've ridden winners in China, Australia, Dubai, and also other around here and domestically as well. I was talking about China in particular. We've seen Japan as a big racing nation, as is Dubai and Australia. But what's China like as a nation for racing? Because we don't really seem to hear a lot about China as a racing nation. But what was that like for you as an experience to ride out there?
It was a great experience. I really enjoyed it. It was more of it was kind of a showcase meeting put on by the China Horse Club. And I was lucky enough to get the opportunity to go out there and be a part of that, and met some fantastic people, bloodstock agents, all from all areas of the industry really, which was something very different, and we were all all in together, and it was great to go and see the passion that they have for it. It was a great experience, and one I'd like to do again.
I was also looking in terms of a horse, Fanciful Angel. I think it's a horse you know particularly well. You won in Dubai. You've got to the Arlington Million as well, finished second as well. For a jockey in particular, to get a horse like that who can take you around the world, it must have been really good, especially to go to Arlington and finish second in such a lucrative race as well.
Yeah, he was an unbelievable horse for me. First to ride a winner at the Dubai Carnival. I'd ridden winners in Dubai, the domestic meetings previous to that, but to ride one at the Carnival, and for Marco Botta, who's been a big part of my career, was outstanding. He was owned by a great bunch of people as well, which is they were all very enthusiastic, even on the days where he didn't win. But no, to take a decent race out in Dubai, and especially at that time in my career, I was only 4 or 5 months out of riding, after riding out my claim. So it was important to just put me on an upward trajectory after that, and keep my name in the lights, kind of thing, which is what you need, especially in those the times straight after you finish your apprenticeship, because they can be testing times for any young jockey. And then like you mentioned, to go to Arlington, something completely different. I'd never experienced anything like that before. And he was a long shot, and to go and run second was the stuff of dreams. So no, he was a special horse, and I wish he was still around, and I wish hopefully there's a couple more like him in the locker, ready to come and find me.
In terms of domestically, you've had a winner back already this week with Olympic Conqueror at Kempton. What did you make of that performance? And is he a horse you can look forward to for the rest of the season? He could make into a nice prospect, do you think?
Yeah, he's still quite low mileage for a 4-year-old, and no, he seems to have done well for that break and forced break that we've all had. He's been a model of consistency from the autumn and then into the winter last year, and it was great to go and start him off on a winning note for the season. And they've got the Cool Silk partnership. We've got a couple of horses with Mr. Fanshawe, and he does particularly well with them. So hopefully, I think he's a horse that probably is equally as effective on the turf, and he probably will stretch out to get a 1.5 miles as well. It's probably a slightly better trip for him, but to see him race with such enthusiasm over 1.25 miles and run out such a ready winner was encouraging for things going forward.
In terms of today, as we spoke about at the top of the interview, you're going to Haydock today for a ride in the last. So Pango, he's up in Trip to his handicap debut from 1 mile to 1 mile 2. How would you assess his chances for Marco Botta in the last today?
We're very hopeful. His work's been good. He was a horse I liked a lot last year, and he never did anything wrong. He bumped into a nice horse of Godolphin's on his third start at Kempton when he was second, but we were well clear of the third, and it was a ding dong battle all the way to the line, and he showed good grit and determination. But he was always a big solid horse who was always going to improve as a 3-year-old, when he strengthened up a bit. So we're hoping the signs have been positive at home so far, and we feel that the step up in Trip and back onto turf will hopefully see him run well. It looks a competitive race. There's a couple of Sir Michael Stouts and Richard Hughes are also making their handicap debut, and they're already winners. So, but no, it looks like it'd be just great to get him on track and see where we are with him.
And just finally, before I let you go, with the flat season now back in action, what are your aims for the season? I think you've yet to ride a group winner, so is that something that you hope to achieve in the not too distant future? Yeah,
100%. I've ridden a couple of listed winners, and I'd love to make the gap to bridge the gap to a group winner, and I've always set myself targets and try and beat them each year. And at this stage, it looks like I've got a nice pool of horses to work around from. So I'd like to get to 50 winners total for the year. Would be great. And obviously made a good start to that so far, and that would be also in the forefront of my mind as a general target. So fingers crossed.
That's brilliant. Right, I'll stop the recording there to make sure it's all saved. I don't want to lose it.
No worries.
Stop